Hey, welcome to the 123. We have a guest today. Ruben, I know your first name. I don't know how to say your last
You just
name.
call me Rue.
Okay. All right, Ru. All right. So first let's get started with the superstar of the week. Uh Robert James Morello, uh, better known by his ring name of Gorilla Monsoon, was an American professional wrestler, play-by-play commentator, and booker. Monsoon is famous for his run as a villainous super heavyweight main eventer and later as the voice of the World Wrestling Federation. As a commentator and backstage manager during the 1980s and 1990s, he also portrayed the on screen role of WWF president from 1995 to 1997. In professional wrestling, the staging area just behind the entrance curtain at an event, a position which Morella established and where he could often be found during WWF shows late in his career, is named the Gorilla position in his honor. Didn't know that. Morella attended Jefferson High School in Rochester, New York, becoming a standout athlete in football, amateur wrestling, and track and field. At the time, he weighed over 300 pounds and was affectionately called Tiny by his teammates. Morello was also a standout athlete after high school and Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York. He continued to wrestle, now weighing over 350 pounds. So he grew, and took second in the 1959 NCAA Wrestling Championships. Also held several school athletic records, including 18-second wrestling pin. So he might have been the first NCAA wrestling wrestler, in the whole thing of Brock Lesnar and Bobby
Yeah,
Lee and definitely Kurt Angle.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know in the territories if there were any. I don't know when the NCAA started though, so that'd be interesting to find out. He debuted in 1958, originally billing himself as Gino Morella, a proud Italian-American babyface who would sing in Italian prior to his matches. Even after changing his ring name, Gino stuck as Morello's nickname among friends and colleagues, including Jesse Ventura, who would call Morello Gino on the air.
Did you know that back then? I found this out from Jim Cornette. But back then, during that time where he was an Italian icon, Italians were considered a minority.
I did not know that. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I found that out from Jim Cornette. Um, One of the draws from having an Italian billing was the fact that you drew from the minority crowd, which they found out like made a lot of money, and they didn't think they were going to, but they found out that the minority crowd actually drew a lot.
Yeah,
So I just found that interesting when you said that.
yeah.
So what are you saying?
Oh, let's see. In 1963, Vincent J. McMahon reformed the Capital Wrestling Corporation to the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, currently known as the WWE, breaking his territory away from the National Wrestling Alliance in an attempt to create a new national powerhouse. At the time, the WWF was the dominant wrestling promotion in Northeast US. Marilla formed a friendship with the man and became a 1/6 shareholder in the WWF, controlling bookings in several WWF territories. He also became one of the promotion's top heels, feuding with popular babyface champion Bruno Sammartino in sellout arenas across the country. Despite his huge size, then in excess of 400 pounds, Monsoon had great agility and stamina, often wrestling Sammartino to 1 hour time limit draws. Wow. That would have been a match to see. I guess you could probably see it on Peacock. I don't know if
Yeah, it's a little complicated to use Peacock, but the other good source would be YouTube.
yeah. Um Peacock is terrible as far as, you know, compared to
Yeah, it's
the
just
way the app used to work. was much better.
Yeah, it's just hard to find things, but they do
Yeah,
have a big library of old school wrestling.
yeah, they do. So it looks like San Martin, I mean rather Gorilla was, one of the, like he was one of the first crossovers from the territories to how we have now with the TV. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it was. According to what I heard, he would be disappointed in Vince McMahon with what he did with the WWE, and proud because he kind of swore to keep the territories workable so that other people could run their businesses. He was very much a family business oriented type of guy. He believed in small businesses.
Yeah.
So that's why some people believe that he would be disappointed in Vince McMahon and the fact that he created a monopoly with wrestling
Oh,
because he put a
sure.
lot of people out of business.
Yeah, he did.
But at the same time, like, unless I'm wrong, I believe Gorilla Monsoon is Vince McMahon's dad, isn't it?
They
At
were
least that was
friends.
kayfabe back in the day. Oh,
Gorilla Monsoon was friends with Vince Sr. and actually had a stake in the company
oh wow.
at one point in time, like 1/6 it said. So that's kind of interesting.
So when I was a little kid, they kind of alluded that Gorilla Monsoon was Vince McMahon's dad, and that's the only thing that I knew about that from those days.
Oh, that's
But
interesting.
that must have been in kayfabe.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know that when I was watching I think the little thing that they had on Vince McMahon,
Yeah.
he was basically he wasn't Vince Sr. Like Vince Sr. wasn't really raising him. He found out that Vince Sr. was his dad but he was like basically an orphan. And then, or not an
Oh
orphan,
wow.
but yeah, he was like living in a trailer park and then went and
Yeah.
hunted down his dad and then wanted to get in the business. And first his
You
dad
know,
said no, and then he was like, okay, I guess we'll let that happen or whatever. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
I bet you that his actual dad would have been proud of what he did.
Yeah,
Like, wow. He gave him a chance and he took over.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess Vince and oh man, I'm trying to think of his wife's name right now.
Uh,
She just ran for
Vince's wife?
Senate. Yeah, Vince's
Yeah, yeah,
wife.
yeah, yeah. Linda McMahon.
Linda, yeah, they both they both basically put themselves to the point of bankruptcy starting the WWE. Um, and then they, put everything on WrestleMania. So it's really a thing that
It
they
paid
did.
off.
Oh yeah. So let's go through what was going on in the week as far as shows, and of course the one that the big pay-per-view was Money in the Bank, and there were 7 matches. There was the Usos, Jey Uso and Jimmy against the Bloodline, which was, I think,
Against Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa.
that was the main event. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the main event.
yeah. Um, and then we had this is weird the way they have this written. I'm trying to find the where's oh, there we are. Okay, so we had the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know if this is, yeah, this must be by order. It was Damian Priest defeating Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Santos Escobar, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I know there's
Yeah.
a lot of contention where a lot of people think that LA Knight should have ended up with the briefcase. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that LA Knight needs a push. Now, I've heard of the idea of having LA Knight versus Austin Theory, and I think that could be a really good story build-up, especially if now that he's been made fun of for starting off and only being thought of as a manager, he actually becomes Austin Theory's manager only to betray him and take the title away from Austin Theory. I think that would I think that would be a wonderful story. And I heard that that's what the people want, but they are upset about him not winning. However, speaking from a Latino, I can tell you that it's a big deal for them to be shining the spotlight on Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio because
Yeah, that makes sense.
I believe it's since the 1970s. There's only been 7 world champions that were Latino. So people don't think about that, but it's from my eyes, it's just nice to see the spotlight being shined on Damian Priest and Dominic, especially because they're actually representing the culture. You know what I mean? They're not trying to hide it.
Right.
Cody Rhodes is also half Latino, but you would never guess it because, well, that's not his persona, you know?
That's true, yeah, because I've seen his mother. Yeah, I don't even think about that usually, but yeah. I know Damian Priest is he's been working at it for a long time, so I mean I think he deserves it too. I understand that they want LA Knight to get there, but it might take him, it might just take a little longer. I mean, he just got out of NXT, so I mean things
I think
happen at their own paces,
the real reason that people are upset with LA Knight and a couple of other people like Montez Ford is because they feel like they're going to be the next Daniel Bryan that are great talents, but are never given the chance to shine. And I think that's what people are getting upset about.
Yeah.
It's just they don't trust the WWE anymore.
Yeah, and there's good reason for that. I mean, I can totally see that. The fact that, especially like this year when Triple H took over creative, it was going a certain way, but now it's obvious that Vince has got his hand back in things, and so they don't know what's going to happen that way. But and also, like when you were talking about Latino runs, there was like Ray had it, but he only had it once. I think he's only had it one time, so I think that it's it'd be a good thing if this happens, and we'll see where that goes. So then go ahead.
When you think about memorable runs, right? Of like Latinos in the WWE, since the Attitude Age, there's only 2 people that come to mind, and that should say something. There's Eddie Guerrero, and there's Rey Mysterio.
Right.
But really, even if other Latinos have had it, it's not like they were approaching the business with the persona of somebody that is Latino. You know what I mean? They were kind of like, to put it in PC terms, they were Americanized and never acknowledging the fact that they were Latino or anything else. And for some people, being Latino is not exactly like being of other ethnicities. That's quite obvious what you are. So just by looking at you, you're able to recognize the person. Most of these people that were actually Latinos, like nobody knew they were Latinos until like the internet actually came around and people bothered to look things up.
Right. So the next match we had was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler by pinfall.
That was exciting.
Yeah, that's where Shayna double crossed Ronda, correct?
Yeah, like the match, in my opinion, and everybody's like, they're validated and having their own opinions and their own feelings about it. But the match was like mid. However, that ending when the betrayal happened, that shocked me, and I was excited to see their match because I feel like it's going to be very much like a UFC fight. I don't think it's going to be like your typical wrestling match. I think they want to fight each other because they know if they're going to put on a UFC fight.
So you think that Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler is going to be the SummerSlam match?
I think it's going to be a good match.
But it'll be a SummerSlam.
I don't trust the story. I don't trust the story and the build up to it. And in wrestling, the story and the build up to everything, and then the punchline is heavily based on like how good something could be. But as a standalone match, I think it could be really good because I think it's going to be like a UFC fight.
Yeah, sounds good. Then we had Gunther against Matt Riddle, and I know Gunther is just an amazing wrestler, and I've really enjoyed watching his matches, but I don't know how, because I didn't see the match. I don't know how Matt Riddle worked with that.
I think it was an okay match. It was a little bit higher quality than a Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't think they were prepared to fight each other. Like their styles meshed well, but it didn't deliver to where like you're gonna be like, oh my god, that has to qualify as a match of the year.
Right. All right. Then we had Cody Rhodes against Dominic Mysterio.
That was a funny match. It wasn't spectacular, but it was at least entertaining. It's Dominic always delivers as far as being the cowardly heel. So that was an entertaining match.
And then I'm looking at the women's Money in the Bank. That looks really good. Io Sky, Bailey, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, Selena Vega, and Zoe Stark. I'm a big fan of Io Sky. She's been really impressive for a long time.
That was probably one of the best matches of the night, and that ending, as far as the match goes, was one that I'll be remembering for a long time. When the man hooked Becky with the handcuffs by her lip and fish hooked her down, only for Io Sky to handcuff her. That was I love that spot. Like that was entertaining. That caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of people are big fans of Io Sky.
Yeah, since she started, and then when she was with I can't think of her name right now because she's been gone so long. But when there was the Sky Princess tag team, that was really cool. And Seth, so then we had Seth freaking Rollins against Finn Balor. And I know Seth is also another Latino that doesn't really say that he's Latino.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know he was Latino. I thought he was Persian.
Yeah, his name is. I want his surname, if I remember, is Latino. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah.
See, that's crazy because I like this, and I haven't looked it up, so I don't know. But I thought he was Persian. That was just my assumption.
Well, here, I'll look it up right now. His name is Colby Daniel Lopez.
Yeah, you don't get much more Latino than Lopez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his yeah, it's funny. It's like when I heard that, I was like surprised. I'm like, the guy that's gone by Seth Rollins and Tyler Black is Latino. That was interesting.
Yeah. And it makes me happy to hear that. But again, it reiterates our point that most of the time you don't even realize when somebody's Latino. You think they're another culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of time, a lot of time is Caucasian. Because that I don't know why people just assume that. I mean, including me, I'm a victim of that,
Yeah.
part of that stigma. But that's what I mean, though. It's like even if we have representation, it's not apparent
Yeah.
because the assumption is that they're usually another culture.
And then and I'm sure this match was good. I think this is a match I saw. So the reason I didn't see the matches, I'll tell everybody, is basically because I just come back from treatment and then I went in. I forgot about the time difference, basically, is what happened. So I haven't seen the replay yet, but I'm gonna see the replay. I just haven't seen it yet.
It was a good match. It wasn't. I'm not going to say it was like one for the ages, but it was a good match. But the ending where it was a confusion of Damian Priest cashing in on Seth Rollins, maybe on Finn Balor, that
Yeah,
I believe that they can make a really good story out of it,
for
and I'm hoping.
sure. Yeah, they keep on. I think Finn Balor is going to probably. I'm guessing this might be a match again at SummerSlam. I don't know. I'm guessing there'll be a stipulation of some type that's not just a singles match, since we've already had the singles match. But it,
Now, I heard a really good storyline about what they could do here, and that's turning Finn Balor into the Mad Prince Balor, and him, feeling like he's going to get another chance, and feeling like Damian Priest is going to screw him over, and becoming friends with JD McDonough, and that's how JD McDonough winds up joining Judgment Day.
okay, that could be interesting. Yeah.
So
So,
that definitely caught my attention.
and then the last match of the night, the Usos, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso against the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And
I think that
I saw a little bit of this match, and man, Roman Reigns just looked defeated. It was pretty cool.
I feel like most people fell for it right at the end. It looked like the Usos were going to be defeated. It looked like that was it for the Usos. And everybody, you could see the entire audience deflate when both of them were piled up and they were about to get beat. And you could tell that nobody was expecting them to kick out. And it was like a double kick out. So I think that match caught everybody off guard. And I'm hoping that they do a good job with that. Because as far as what I've heard off of like the dirt sheets, this is the last year for the Bloodline. After this year, that's it.
Yeah, and that makes sense because I mean that storyline has been going forever.
Yeah,
So
since the pandemic, since 2020.
yeah, yeah. So um kind of running out the clock. I'm not sure how long
All right.
but we'll see.
I think that covers all the matches.
Oh yeah, that's all the matches. Now I'm wanted to talk about Raw, and I know Raw drags on so bad. It's
It's
it needs to be dropped back to 2 hours is what needs to happen. Because they don't.
I think that they need to dedicate more time to their story building on Raw,
Yeah,
and it'll have you hooked longer. But if they don't give the brand the attention it needs,
yeah,
then we're destined to have what we have.
yeah. I know when they had it, in the 90s during the Attitude Era, a lot of they just had big events that happened all the time, and a lot it's just more interesting compared to now
Well,
where it's just, and a lot of times it's the same matches too, which is
well, here was the trick to the Attitude Age. They had a lot of bogus wrestlers. Like, and I know that everybody deserves credit in their own way and whatnot, but they did. But every hour was built like it was its own show, and they would have a good start but then they would have a lot of filler in between where you were kind of bored, and that's what usually when you would switch to WCW. And then all of a sudden, right at the end of the hour, you would have a main story, like Stone Cold and the World. And then the next one would be like, Triple, and then the next hour would be the same thing. But the last hour of the last hour would have like Triple H and Mankind. And then like, for the main event, you would have like, Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker. But that was the trick to the Attitude Age and how they were able to have 3 hours was people would flip channels back and forth. However, they would always get you at that end of the hour. So to hook you in order to keep you entertained and stay.
Okay,
well, so that's how they were able to have a 3 hour segment.
Okay, that's a different perspective because like I've seen the Attitude Age video packages, which obviously are going to be a little bit more than when you're watching something for 3 hours straight. I was on the other side. I was watching WCW, and I don't think I ever really flipped. I think, probably sometimes, but WCW, because of the style that they used where they were constantly using Crash TV, it felt like you didn't want to change the channel because you felt like you would miss something. So that was
that was the beautiful part about WCW was it was more like AEW where all your middle card was not sucky. Like you had Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. You had a lot of matches where you literally watched it and you were like, wow, this is good wrestling.
Oh yeah, some of the lucha
and then
stuff
they would hit
great.
you. Yeah, and then they would hit you with the Crash TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
So then all of a sudden you would forget about the match because that usually doesn't last in your long-term memory. But they would hit you with the story, which then would get you to be like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? So that's where WCW had you for the most part, was they kept you entertained during those filler matches with actual good matches. Where the WWE has always been more safe.
Yeah.
About the way they work,
So they had Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I keep hearing so much good stuff about Shinsuke Nakamura and that he was really good in New Japan. But every time that I see him in the matches now, and I've heard this, that like he's kind of coasting, like he doesn't do the spectacular matches anymore, really. But
he is coasting, but he's also coasting because he's not allowed to be the Nakamura of New Japan. He has to work within the WWE confines, and he knows that he's not going to get pushed. So in a sense, I don't blame him for coasting.
Yeah.
But in order for you to get the Nakamura that everybody was dreaming of, it would mean that you would have to get hit. People would have to be okay with getting hit like Gunther, or like. All right, so here's the thing: Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus. Everybody always looks forward to their matches because everybody feels like, oh my goodness, these dudes are gonna make it look like it hurts. That's the thing about Nakamura. Is Nakamura fought more like strong style, and that's really impactful. But I don't know why in the WWE they'll allow somebody like them to hit you hard, while they don't allow strong style to really shine out. And maybe it has to do with that kind of an impact versus that kind of an impact. Maybe this is more dangerous than getting hit like that, even though it looks just as impactful.
And then we had, this is definitely sounds to me like not a great match. I think I must have gotten up for this. Emma and Nikki Cross versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville.
I must have skipped it.
Yeah, I'm guessing honest, that wasn't a good match. It's like
I saw Monday Night Raw, and I know that I believe I skipped one match, and I didn't even know what match it was. I just saw it, I got bored, and I fast forwarded it. So that must have been the match.
Yeah. That's crazy. I think we're gonna have to we're gonna have to leave Raw because I just got the time thing here.
All right.
And I was gonna check out what we had for the 4th of July NXT. No.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. All right, so let's talk about the match card for Dynamite. So we're gonna have Kenny Omega versus Wheeler Yuta. I don't know that that's going to be an amazing match. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think it could be entertaining. Again, I'm not going to say match of the year or anything. I think it could be entertaining because the hype about Wheeler Yuta is his in-ring, not his promo skills.
Right.
He's not an MJF that'll keep you entertained, and in the middle of the match he's going to say something. He's more like good at that cross between being a high flyer, strong style, a little bit of everything, but definitely can deliver in ring.
Right.
Just not on the mic.
So then we're gonna have Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. That should be a pretty good match. Although I was really expecting, they really put together a new package with Ruby Soho compared to when she was Ruby Riott, but as far as her wrestling skills, they really haven't improved that much, I've noticed.
I think she's gotten more sloppy.
Yeah.
I think she knows she needs to pick up her game in order to shine. So we'll see what she does.
Yeah.
She was kind of like on a pity party for a minute there because she got injured and she felt like she was owed something. But I feel like since then, she's kind of realized like I need to pick up my game if I want to go anywhere.
And I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, we haven't done like a prediction, but I'm guessing I think Kenny Omega will go over Wheeler Yuta unless there's interference. There might be interference. That seems like a definite possibility.
I think it'll end in a DQ.
Okay. It's hard. I don't know. Like, we don't have too many DQs on AEW though, because like even if they're like this is a normal wrestling match, it's almost always like it's no disqualification. The way that they run them a lot of times.
Yeah, but I think the determining factor on the DQ is going to be when the Blackpool run rampant on Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to look like Wheeler's going to win, and all of a sudden Kenny's going to win, and then all of a sudden it's going to be interfered, and there's going to be no winner.
It could be Takashita attacking him with Don Callis too. That could happen. I guess it just depends what they're thinking for the.
That might not be a bad idea. That way, the Blackpool Combat also got upset with them.
Yeah.
A little bit of conflict in the group,
Yeah, and then we have MJF and Adam Cole versus To Be Determined. That'll be interesting. Who do you think the To Be Determined will be? FTR,
I'm
maybe?
thinking CM Punk, maybe?
No, because they're not crossing brands. They don't have.
Oh.
But then
no, that's the other
Young
thing.
Bucks.
CM
Young
Punk
Bucks
acted like he didn't care about that.
Yeah, Young Bucks aren't scheduled, so maybe that's a possibility. I guess we'll see. And then I don't know how that match will go. I think that MJF and Adam Cole won't work well together, but that's what I would think. But again, they can swerve us with that.
I didn't know that was tonight. Then I think that you're absolutely right. It could be FTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't realize that tonight was a tag team match with Adam Cole.
Yeah. They're doing this weird blind eliminator tag team thing, which they're doing and then Chris Jericho's going to speak. I'm not really too excited with that. And then John Moxley is going to speak. So I don't know. That's not really a match to me. So.
I'd be more excited about Chris Jericho speaking than Moxley.
Yeah.
Like I like Moxley, but man, I don't know. There's something missing out of his persona.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna, drink the bones and bathe in blood and all these other things. Then we have Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. What are your thoughts on Orange? Do you think do you see him as pockets and as a kind of the Jim Cornette thoughts on him? Or
I think that they're not delivering on Orange, and I don't know why. I don't know what they're waiting for to pull the trigger. And maybe so here's the flaw that I believe that is the AEW flaw. I think that some people don't need writers, and that it feels nice to have wrestlers be themselves and be natural. But I think that some need a writer to write them a story, and to guide them. But I think they need writers that know the person and the character. And I think that Orange Cassidy is one of those cases where he needs a writer in order to shine. Because he was a lot better in the indies. And as far as watching him on a weekly basis, he needs better story. But at the same time, they need to deliver on that drinking of orange juice. Not once has he ever drank the orange juice in AEW. And that was the beautiful thing about him in the indies, was in the indies, he drank an orange juice and he almost became a super saiyan where he was untouchable. I know that that's what he's doing with the pockets, but it doesn't deliver like the orange juice delivers. Okay. Not to mention that it's a little played out by now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
they've done the pockets thing long enough.
Yeah, it's weird because they have the pockets thing, but like they're running them like Roman Reigns, and it's just like, why don't we just make him an actual, have him break out of this persona, because it's time to break out of the persona. Sometimes he said things where he's like clearly not acting like a sloth. Like the one time when he told he's like, you need to do this or whatever, and it's like he was clearly awake and just more of a thing. I keep wanting to see Orange Cassidy break out. They've got him on with the international title, which is good, but anyway,
I think a writer could help do that.
Yeah. But anyway, the thing's about to die on us. So before we go, I wanted to make sure you had time to let people know where they can find you.
All right. Well, I'm on TikTok. My tag name is Wrestling Rue, wrestling.rue, RUE. And I do lives and I do videos.
All right. Cool.
I usually live stream the shows.
Awesome. So we'll definitely everybody check that out. And it's about time to turn on AEW, and we'll see you next week. And thanks for coming by, Rue, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bye. Have a good night, everybody. It was a pleasure. Till next time.
All right. Bye.